one of the guys in our team, he went with a list of questions and he asked different top producers the exact same question to see what their response would be so that he could compile their feedback and kind of find the average between what everyone else was saying. And then he could go do that. And I just thought that was such an intelligent way to get better, because success leaves clues. So if you actually say what people say and you do what they do, you're going to get what they have, especially in this business. Family First Life is the first opportunity I have ever seen where you do not become successful by some mix of hard work, luck, or politics, but it's actually independently based off of your work ethic.
I'm like, what's the dream of? What's the hope in? What's the doubt for? Live to no end. This is living. The life I've been given is a gift. If I'm a living, I'm a live with the death. So what's the dream of? What's the hope in? What's the doubt for? And live to no end. This is living. The life I've been given is a gift. If I'm a living, I'm a live with the death. Yeah.
All right, welcome everybody to the call. I appreciate every single one of y'all for jumping on here tonight. As y'all can see, I'm sitting here at the airport right now. I'm in Detroit. On my way back from Miami. Tomorrow I'll be leaving a live dial session for anybody who's been traveling today. So definitely thank y'all for tuning in. We're going to go ahead and we're going to hear from a lot of different people tonight. And I'm really excited for us to get some perspective from everybody who was at the 2022 Miami Convention. It was just such an incredible event. You guys are going to hear from our top managers. You guys are going to hear from Mike Curry, Josh Lockhart, Peter Unger, Zach Babiars, and Brody Pompey. And you guys are also going to get a chance, if you were there, to unmute and just share, your biggest takeaway. We really do want to hear it. So I do have to catch a flight here in the next 10, 15 minutes. So I'm going to let these guys take over here shortly. But I really just want to just congratulate every single one of y'all who did make it, who showed up. You guys know how much of an impact that's going to have in your business, just from showing up, getting in a room with all of these people who are on the same mindset, the same grind, have a similar goal to you, that are shooting in the same direction as you. It's powerful, guys. It's so, so powerful. So if you were not there and you're tuning in to catch the golden nuggets, I promise you the golden nuggets are much better received in person than on this recap call. The purpose of this recap call really is just to bring it back to light, to make sure that if there's anything that, one of you guys got that we didn't write down, we want to be able to bring that back. And just convention was amazing. To be able to hear Kevin O'Leary speak, to be able to hear the top producers speak, and to be able to see people on our team get recognized, walked across stage in front of, 10,000 people. That was just so cool. As cool as it was for me to receive Hall of Fame, seeing Mike Curry receive Hall of Fame, just that was incredible. To see, Josh and Zach and Peter, get recognized as gold producers in front of the whole company. That was also incredible. And to be able to meet a lot of you guys in person. I know one of the coolest things that I took away from convention, outside of even just the speakers, was just how powerful it is getting us all together in person. And I know that that's going to be something we're going to continue to do here in the future. I know that Mike's planning a little team retreat for some of his top earners here in February, just to get people in person more often. I think there's power in that. So, we'll kind of dig into it, and I'll pass this off here to Mike here shortly to kind of host this thing. But I think my biggest takeaway is just to believe much bigger, much faster. And I know that's kind of like cliche. You hear that in a personal development book. What do you mean believe much bigger, much faster? People are coming into this business and they have a mindset of I'm here to help families. I don't really want to recruit. I don't really want to build a team. But guys, we really truly do have one of the best sales opportunities on the planet. And if we truly go ahead and take advantage of that, it could change your life forever. I can't echo to you guys enough about how my life has changed in the last 15 months and how quickly your life can change too if you just go ahead and put some serious focus. From convention last year to convention this year, our team has it's absolutely exploded. And it's not me, it's so many of you guys here on this call. And I want you guys to see yourself on stage next year getting recognized, and you shouldn't expect anything less of yourself. So I'll just kind of give you guys, just one golden nugget that I really loved. Dave Anderson. If you guys hadn't heard Dave Anderson before, that was my second time hearing him. Dave Anderson, Learn to Lead. That's his company. He has so many different books on sales and discipline and mindset and consistency. But the simplest thing that just hit me so hard was how you do anything is how you do everything. So, there's so many areas in my life that I need more discipline in. And even though maybe for me, I've been able to find a I've been able to find some good disciplines in the business world. There's so many disciplines outside of the business world that are not on point. And I know that's going to leak into my business life here shortly if I don't put some of those things in perspective. So how you do anything is how you do everything. That was huge. And just seeing how big this can get. I mean, there was 10,000 people at that convention. It could hold 50,000. Guys, next year we could fill that stadium or fill a stadium just like it. And how cool would it be for you to not only be getting recognized, but also be speaking on that stage next year? That's the vision that I want you guys to have. So what I'd like to do is I'm just going to kind of pass this thing over to Mike. Mike, if you're out there, unmute. And I'd love for you to kind of take over. I'll make you host and just share some of your biggest takeaways that you could pass off to some of the managers. We can kind of go from there.
Yeah, man, Jamie, appreciate you and thankful to be on here. So yeah, guys, convention, I mean, you guys know how hard I preached it before we got out there, and it definitely lived up to my expectations from last year, and just, you know, the growth that it can allow you to have. And I like to build and position myself from event to event. You know, whenever they announce these, it's in my mind, like, it's not a if I'm going to go, it's whenever they have the dates, everything else is going to be planned out around it. So I know for me, you know, some of the biggest takeaways, I'm just going to run through some stuff that I have written down from Dave Anderson, because I'm sure everybody has a lot of different notes. But I think, you know, Dave Anderson is if you didn't go, he's kind of a coach for more so athletes. And this business, I think that you can really look yourself in the mirror. And if you train and you take on your mindset, just like an athlete does, whether it's in fitness or, you know, any type of sport, I think that you'll position yourself to be able to conquer or achieve anything you want in this business. So just a couple things. I'll just run through some of the points he made for me. So one was raise your personal standards. I think that's huge because, you know, if you're like me, when you came into this business, you didn't know what to expect. It's a new world to you. And I think that, you know, sometimes we come in with low expectations, and, you know, that's another thing about convention is when you go there. And you know, Zach Trudowski said it on the call this morning, you know, when he watched the awards ceremony, you know, it wasn't in any negative way, but he's like, if those fools can do it, I can do it. And, you know, I'm one of those fools that walked across the stage and got a red jacket. And, you know, I saw the same thing last year. You know, I looked at those individuals and not that I don't think those people are, you know, high level, but like the only thing different in any of us, right, is work ethic and plugging in and making that decision to believe in yourself and become great, because we all have it in us. So raise your personal standards. That's the first takeaway. The second would be, and this is huge for me because being transparent, I don't ever do this. And I've especially lacked, you know, as of late. I think things and times, you know, as you get better at something, you have to check yourself, because when things get easier, you can allow it your personal responsibilities and to get to the point, you know, it was win the first hour of the day. And I can't honestly say and be honest with myself and say I've won the first hour of the day the last, honestly, probably 6 months. So it's getting up earlier, being on time, making sure that I'm always prepared, and not just some days. So I think winning the first hour of the day, there's a big thing about, I think it was like ditch the snooze or leave the snooze, you know, just simple stuff like hitting the snooze button. You know, it's like, if you guys would laugh at me, I've probably hit it 10, 15 times before. I set it at like 5 and I'll hit it all the way till 7. And, you know, so that's something that I've changed personally. I was in here at 7 a.m. this morning, and I'm going to keep that streak going. So win the first hour of the day. The next was, and again, like all these points are huge to me, and maybe you guys took away some things from here, but learn how to have good, crappy days. And, you know, in all reality, there are no crappy days. You know, when you wake up and, you know, Sean says all the time, we're healthy. You know, we didn't wake up with cancer and we woke up, right? So, I mean, it's never a crappy day. It's never crappy to wake up. So learn to have good crappy days. So always be positive. Alston Hatch had a comment that he made that was, you can either be grateful or negative. You can't be both. And that really hit home because naturally I struggle with mentally being negative a lot of times. I don't even think about it. It's just, naturally comes that way. So learning to be grateful and not negative. The next was speak and think in terms of what you do want. And I think, when I hear that, I don't see that in like, you speak as if it's going to happen. Right. So rather than taking things that's like, I want to be a Hall of Fame producer. Like there's a lot of people, right? I'm just using that for example. There's a lot of people who want to be Hall of Fame producers. Well, you can want it, but you have to do it, right? So like you make up your mind and you put in your heart that I'm going to do it, and you look at the numbers and you look at what that takes and you go do it on the daily, right? It's not just wanting something; it's actually putting the action in to take that and actually accomplish it. This was a big one. Life is you versus you. I feel like I've always been that way, but it's a good reminder that like, as much as we want to compete with each other, and it's not so much as like compete with somebody as it is like, for instance, Josh, right? Like I love Josh to death, but he pushes me to be better every single day. Peter pushes me to be better. Brody, Joseph, all these people, they push me to be better, right? Because it's like, at the end of the day though, like you have to compete with yourself. You have to hold yourself accountable. So life is you versus you. Here's another one, do the basics better. This applies to our business majorly. Right? The basics. What's the basics? It's dialing the phone, it's booking appointments, it's showing up. Those are the basics. That's the daily activities, right? Making sure you go to your last appointment, being on dial day, right? Doing the basics better. Next is master. I don't really know that we need to talk about this. I'll mention it. Master the art of high quality sleep. Making sure that you get good sleep at night, not going to bed like I do at 2 a.m. and then wonder why I can't get up at 6. That's a huge one. The next thing would be take care of your body. So that spoke to me. And I remember really early on, Nina had mentioned this in one of her podcasts, because she comes from a fitness background. I come from a fitness background, and it resonated with me. But it's, if you're eating crap and you're not taking care of your body, it slows you down mentally. And it can be it seems like it's not much, but like it can mentally wear you down. Like when you're working 60, 70, 80 hours a week and you're getting up early and you're constantly active, it can wear you down. And, if you're not if you don't eat right, I mean, you guys, that's your own thing, but if you don't eat right, it can definitely slow you down, and it plays a major role in your success here. So it was kind of just a reminder that, no more excuses about don't have time. Like you need to make time, because either you make time now or you're going to have to make time later. And that was a quote that he had said. So that really stuck with me. There's a few more here. The next one would be get over your feelings, right? Don't be emotional. I ride that emotional roller coaster probably as much as anybody. But get over your feelings, right? Just focus on the work and do the activity rather than making emotional decisions. The next one is huge. And this is something, and Grady mentioned this to me a while back, and I'll mention what he told me, but stay locked in during adversity. A lot of us, including myself, when things get hard, we want to pull back and we want to like step back from it. With like, whenever you get a little bit of a resistance, you want to pull back. Top producers, top performers, athletes, when things get hard, they go harder, right? They don't pull back. I think that's really valuable, because, the longer that you sulk, like, if you're having a string of people telling you no on the phone, right? Rather than taking a break and sulking in it and like, poor me, if you just keep dialing, you'll power through it. And then next thing you know, you'll get a string of yeses. So that's, kind of what I took from that. The next is, this is huge. And you have to do this. It says clarify and enlarge your why. You guys really, if you're in this full time, you really need to have a why. And we all have them, but you really need to make that written out, put it in front of you at all times, remind yourself. We all have our why. I'm not going to share mine right now. A lot of people need to speak here, but take a minute to write it down, and not just like my why, my family, right? Like details. What about your family? What do you want to accomplish? Your why is really important, and it's gonna be what keeps you going when you don't want to go anymore. Let's be honest, when you don't want to go anymore, and you need to clarify and enlarge your why. This one was a big one. This whole thing's a big one for me. I feel like I'm an awful person after listening to him speak, but use your downtime to get better. That was huge, because we all have moments where, we feel like we're working, right? Like, to me, I'm scrolling social media. My wife, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm working. I'm posting something, right? Just random stuff, right? Find myself scrolling social media. That's my thing. That's where I waste a lot of time. And, rather than just like wasting time watching TV, like, again, this is for athletes, right? This is for people, the Kobe Bryants, the LeBron, the Michael Jordans, right? This is what the elite of the elite do, whether it's in our business or any industry. They use their downtime to get better, to get ahead, where other people are like slowing down and doing other things. If you want to be elite in anything, you're using your downtime to get better. Okay. Next, embrace a life. There's two more. Embrace a life of excellence in all things. This one was pretty deep, and it really goes into your everyday life. And he used some examples, simple tasks like, and this is more of a personal thing, but putting your shopping cart, racking your shopping cart, picking up trash after yourself, right? He mentioned things like, how's your car look? How's your closet look? Like, it's weird stuff, maybe, like, do you make your bed? Like, but these are the details, right? What's the quote? It's like, how you do anything is how you do everything. I might have it backwards, but like, that's so true. Like, when you focus on the details, the big things come to fruition. Like, everyone, it's just the same thing. Like, so many people want to write 20K. Let's just use that. Well, what's 20K look like, right? You have to, it's the details and how you get there, right? The dials, the appointments, the schedule, the sacrifice, right? So embracing a life of excellence in all things, that really hit home outside of just this business, but in life in general. And then the last one, and I'll pass it off to Josh, audit your routines and rituals. And, whether you pray in the morning, this convention, I loved, it was a lot of, it was a lot about God and just, your routines and your rituals and praying, whatever it is that you do. He had mentioned that, there was this notepad, like writing notes, and I can't remember the details of it, but just simple messages to yourself, and, making sure that what you do on a daily, like, most of us wake up in the morning and do a lot of different things, right? Like make sure what you're doing, whether it's getting up and reading a book, or getting up and working out. See, he's got his notepad there, getting up and working out, or, getting up and reading a book. Make sure that what you're doing is positioning yourself for success. Because, like, goes back, you win the first hour of the day. So those were some things that I took from Dave Anderson. He actually has a really good podcast. And I think there was a lot of great speakers. But, as far as convention went, man, it was, as I knew it would be, life-changing. I learned a lot, grew a lot. And I think that those of you who went, I think you guys will truly show up on our Families Protected board. And you guys will be very successful, and you'll change your family's life. And I think that I think you'll really grow from it, and I'm excited to see everyone. So with that, Josh, are you out there?
I'm here, man. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I'll pass it to you.
Hey, really, really appreciate it. And I would have to agree with you that Dave Anderson was the most impactful. I actually started making a list of all the things, all the 1% things that, I don't do so well, or I could use improvement. And, if you were to make a 1% improvement on 10 areas of life, that's a 10% improvement. That's pretty good. So obviously I won't spend any more time on that, but there was a ton of training, on the producer side, heard from top producers, which is incredible. Some of the the very top producers in the company, they're issue paying, upwards of 700, 800, 900, just insane numbers. We'd be here forever to try to, I picked up this word track, I picked up that word track. But the thing that was really most impactful for me wasn't so much any one thing that one person said. It was really just the feeling coming out of a convention. And I'll do the best I can to put it into words, but it's really that if you don't get all in, what does all in mean? All in means the time that you spend building this business, that you are 100% there, like Mike talked about, right? Whether that's, hey, I'm going to be on dial day, and when I'm on, I'm going to be on, camera on, leads locked in, pounding the phones. And how fast do you move from call to call? For instance, right? We all have bad calls. You get hung up. Somebody says something crazy to you and you get frustrated, you get red in the face. But if you're an amateur or professional, here's the difference when it comes to dials. When you have that bad call, right? The amateur, they get up, they find an excuse, they mess with their pens, they go get a drink of water, they walk around, they call somebody, they complain about it. A professional at most takes a deep breath and they make a next call, right? So how fast can you move from task to task? Because if you don't, you will get left behind. Okay. Like no one's waiting for you. The company's going to $1 billion. This team's exploding, literally exploding on the daily. I know our team is, I know Mike's team is, Jamie, let's see here, looking at, there was Nina and Hayden, a very young couple. About 1 year ago, their agency was issue paying something like 150, 160,000 1 year ago. Now they're issue paying $2 million, fastest growing agency in the company. One of the, did you hear what I said? 150,000 to 2 million in a month. It's insane numbers. Look at Mike Curry, right? Last December, he just got started. Right before that, he was repairing refrigerators, just went across stage, $400,000 on his own pen. And that's 2 stories out of a sea of stories of people that are less talented, less skilled, younger, older, have more problems, issues, challenges. I guarantee you, if you put your problems and challenges into a bucket, you would quickly pull yours out first before the other people, you could grab theirs, right? And so I walked out of that going, I had to say, I got a pretty good life. I spent 2 weeks, had pneumonia, but I'm like, that was no big deal, right? Like, I got to get after it. There's so many things. Like, I'll just be transparent. And here's some of the things that I'm beating myself up with that I'm not going to continue to do. I'm just going to make improvements because I don't want to get left behind, right? I'm looking at Mike and all the things, I'm looking at you guys' picture on social media, all the things that you guys did as a team, we didn't do, right? I was a little sluggish. I could have done better in convention, right? On dial day today, right? I made some good calls, set some good appointments, but I could have made more. I could have squeezed out another 2, 3, 4 appointments. And you might say it's only an extra couple appointments, not a big deal. You can make it up next time. But if you do that every single dial day times 52, that's hundreds of appointments. What is that? $100,000 you missed out on? $200,000 you missed out on, right? Tomorrow, I got a bunch of appointments tomorrow, right? I have a list here of agents. Maybe you're on here. Maybe you're going to get a call from me that I need to make sure to reach out to help and empower the agents because I want to grow our agency. I don't want to be the guy in December. We're all posting our goals in the chat. And if you haven't, I'm going to post mine. You post yours, put it out there. I don't want to be the guy in December go, yeah, I made a New Year's resolution. Yeah. I wanted to be one of the people on the stage. Yeah. I wanted to grow a big agency. Yeah. I wanted freedom, all the things, all the reasons why we're here. But, I played, I scrolled through TikTok a little too much. I got tired and took a nap at a gas station, or, I could have been calling through agents and helping agents get started, but instead, I listened to whatever song or whatever thing. Right. And so it's time to get serious, right? We're all here for a reason. Maybe it's you want to get out of debt. I don't know what it is for you. You really think about that, but a year is going to go by. I mean, more so in this business than any other business, time moves so fast, right? I was just talking to somebody today. They have the study course. They've had it for 6 months and they're still talking about getting started. It's like, you've had it for 6 months. You could have made $100,000 over the last 6 months. Dude, I don't know. Like, it could have been incredible, but you didn't, right? You got a little lax. So that was the feeling as best as I can convey to you. So get serious about your goals, get serious about your plan. If you do not have a written plan of daily actions that you're going to take for your business, right? Obviously it's dialing the phone. Obviously it's running appointments. How many agents are you going to call? How many posts on social media are you going to make? How many people are you going to reach out to? Right? Like, all of these things that make the business go. Maybe today in doing them, it doesn't feel like you've made a big difference, but I promise you times 365 is a monstrous difference. And you could be the next person that 100X's their business, doubles, triples, quadruples, whatever the case may be. You could be that person 12 months from now, could be financially completely different. Or it couldn't. You get to decide. So I'll turn it back to you, Mike.
Yeah, great feedback. Definitely agree with that. I always tell people all the time, it's like, and then I'll move on to Peter here. The difference in 15 and 14 appointments, right? A lot of people don't think that's a difference. They're fine. But if you do that 2 times a week, it adds up, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, that's 8 appointments. Most people do 8 appointments in a day. And the difference in 14 and 15, do 8 times 12. I don't have the math on me, but it's a lot of days. It's probably a month that you give up, month of appointments that you give up, or at least 2 weeks, the difference in 14 and 15 appointments. So same can be said if you go above 15. So, the details in this business are literally everything. They're everything in your life, no matter what you're doing. So, Peter, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Love to hear from you.
Awesome. Hey, I know that most of the people on the call are probably people who attended the event, and I hope you're fired up, because coming out of an event like that, it's impossible not to be. I remember the first time I ever went to an event like this was in 2015, when I was recruited into a completely separate industry that taught me a lot about myself, but I didn't make very much money. And I spent a couple of years in that industry. A lot of us come from the same background. And I remember making the decision, because I know there's one thing above all else that I figured out early on as an entrepreneur and as someone in business. And that was that I did not want this to take forever. And I knew that if I didn't have the skill set, I was going to have to learn from the people who did have the skill set. So looking at top leaders and what they said, I've always heard it in every space I've ever been in. Get to events change lives. Don't let this be a negotiable for you. And I remember going to my first event out in Arizona, and me and my friend, we drove from Oregon to Arizona, and we only had enough money for gas to get there, but not enough to get back. And we actually slept in the car. But the 2 days that I was there were life-changing for me and completely propelled me in a different direction. And I'm thankful that things aren't as hard now, but I just wonder, like, how many people didn't go this year that would have been willing to do something like that, to go to the event and to sleep in your car if you had to, right? We're not going to make you do that. We have a lot of support in this team and a better situation than we had back then. But it's like, what are you willing to do to be successful in something like this? Whether you're doing this part-time or you're doing this full-time. And I truly believe, and this really isn't to make anyone feel bad, it's just to tell you the truth. If you weren't there, 99% of people who weren't there just are not serious enough about this, and you weren't willing to give up what it took to get there. I have sold stuff to get to events before. I have gone more than broke. I have gone in the negative. And I did it because I got it from the start. If I do not plug in and I do not sacrifice, there's nothing for me here, and I'm not going to be able to grow. And I just think there were a lot of people who were at this event with us that you think were in a better position than you, but they were in a bad financial situation, or their home life was bad and they still made it happen. And 2022, they're going to have a distinct, unique advantage to everyone else coming out of that event, more than the trainings. Because you can say, hey, well, you guys just listen to a lot of trainings. I can plug into the calls each week. You're right, you can. Or, hey, you guys just got together for a while. Well, I can hang out with everyone on Zoom, and you can. But you can't replace the kind of belief that it will put inside of you for the people we get to work with, the leaders that we're around, and the CEO of this company. I first went to an FFL event in May, 6 weeks in, and I came back a different person. I wrote business differently. I dialed the phones differently. because I was so much more fully bought in. So my schedule didn't change. I still put the same amount of hours in, but my belief level was in a completely different place. So I just hope that there's like one or two people at least who are so frustrated they weren't able to make it happen. And you just make that decision. Like, I'm not going to miss another event. I'm not going to miss another opportunity to change my life. Because like Mike and Josh, I think articulated really well, nothing compares to these events. And it's hard to explain to you the feeling coming out of it. It's not just this hype or just this excitement inside. It's actually a new level of belief and confidence, and it teaches you so much more about yourself. And that's probably my biggest takeaway from this weekend was I learned a lot about me. And I wish I could hit the rewind button. I could let everyone in on all the conversations that I had in the hallways and in between sessions. But that's what's huge for me is getting to these events, meeting the people I've heard on the trainings, asking them personal questions. One of the guys in our team, he went with a list of questions and he asked different top producers the exact same question to see what their response would be so that he could compile their feedback and kind of find the average between what everyone else was saying. And then he could go do that. And I just thought that was such an intelligent way to get better, because success leaves clues. So if you actually say what people say and you do what they do, you're going to get what they have, especially in this business. Family First Life is the first opportunity I have ever seen where you do not become successful by some mix of hard work, luck, or politics, but it's actually independently based off of your work ethic. I looked at the stage this weekend and I saw over 100 speakers like everyone else did. And I just thought to myself, some of these people are incredible human beings, but they've been on this journey of progression in every area of their life when they started here. When they started here, they said, enough's enough. I'm not going to just become a better family member or a better father or mother. I'm not just going to become a better sibling or a better son or better daughter. I'm going to become a better human being. I'm going to become a better leader. And I'm going to improve in every area of my life, mentally, physically, spiritually, socially, relationally, financially. And Family First Life for some people, especially these top producers and Hall of Fame producers, you can just see it. They're not just better off in their bank account. They're better off in every area of their life, because this is actually a holistic opportunity to change who you are in every aspect and become better, not just to change your financial situation if you let it. And you can do that whether you're doing this part-time or you're doing this full-time. But like Mike said, you have to be all in. This isn't something that works if you put one foot in. You have to dive in, and you can even do that with a part-time schedule. I think one of my biggest takeaways was a talk that Matt Smith gave. He is an integrity partner. He has an agency called FFL Northwest, which is now a part of Integrity. And he talked about how life insurance is the best business he's ever been in. And he gave us a couple things: activity, attitude, strategy, execution, and change were the primary things. And I'll give you a couple of these notes. So in attitude, he said the number one epidemic in this business is your attitude. A lot of people are negative. Mike was saying he's caught himself being more negative than positive. Well, Matt said the human brain is 3 times more likely to be negative than positive. And I've actually heard this before. A study was done that showed that negative thoughts for us it sticks like Velcro, and positivity for us in our minds, it's like water off a duck's back. So you have to actually engage positivity to have it stick with you, where negativity, it just sticks to you naturally. So some of the questions he gave us to reflect on: who do you spend all your time with? Do you have a growth/teachable mindset? Then he talked about activity. He said, show me your calendar and I'll show you your success. There can't be any white space if you want to succeed. So just having like a full schedule, like when you're doing this, be all in and have this be the only thing that you're doing. Strategy, you need a plan. It needs to be intentional. That's why so many of us coming out of convention set goals and we put it in a group for accountability's sake. I know people are reverse engineering their goals over the next couple of days, so they know what it's going to take to hit them for the rest of this year. Execution, this is what separates you from the majority. Check this out. 7% of FFL agents write advanced market products. 85% of Hall of Fame producers write advanced market products, which means they know something that you don't know. So I thought that was so unique, because it's like, Jamie and Mike just hit Hall of Fame. And I know that they both write IUL and IULEs. Those are advanced market products. So are annuities. So advanced market products, annuities, IULs, products of that nature. It was like, you're not using your whole license if you're not writing those products as well. And that's really the takeaway from that is success leaves clues. So if you want to be a Hall of Fame producer, you're gonna have to be really sharp. Mike and Josh hit Hall of Fame because they had a consistent schedule. They ran it every single week, no matter what was going on. That's why they were able to do what they did and help over 400 families this year personally off of their own pen. And it wasn't just that, it was that they were continually sharpening their skill set. and they were able to write a ton of advanced market products as well. And then the last thing was change. Making fast decisions is the new big in business. A lack of change held me back in the beginning more than anything else. And as he was talking about this, I feel like if you let it, an event like this will help you to kind of paint your character up against a wall and see where you're at and see also what's holding you back. You know what I realized, and Josh kind of mentioned it, I have a really distinct fear of being left behind. And the last few months for me, probably the last 3 or 4 months, I haven't been moving as fast as I want to be in this business, especially on an agency building side. So the decision that I made coming out of this convention was people are going to do it with or without any of us. And these numbers, these award ceremonies, they're getting larger every single year. More people will hit Hall of Fame. More people will become board members and build, $1 million a month agencies within Family First Life. This business is not going to shrink, and Family First Life is going to continue to be the leading competitor with an edge on every other company in the financial services industry and insurance space. So we're still just getting started. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to get left behind. So I don't want to get left behind on a personal production level. I don't want to get left behind on a building level. And I've worked, since I started here 10 months ago, I've worked 60 to 80 hours every week. But there's been weeks where I chose to work 60 when I could have worked 80. Now, that might not be everyone's goal on here. It might not be a cold-blooded entrepreneur that just like has this goal to build an agency here. But what I can tell you is, like, even if you are part-time, you can fully immerse yourself in this for 12, 15 hours a day, whatever that looks like, on the days that you are doing this, and be completely committed to it. And I hope you know that there is so much more in you than what you believe you're capable of right now. And the only way that you are going to reach the next level in this business is if you recognize and realize that who you are today will not be the person to get you to where you want to go by the end of this year. But it is not only going to be a sharpening of skill set within Family First Life, it's going to be a complete change in your lifestyle. I recently committed myself to getting back to winning each day by starting it the right way. So working out, waking up at 5 a.m. or at 4:30 a.m. every day, working out, reading my Bible. It's important to me. Reading a book that is personal development related as well. So my mind is right, my body is right. And I've won at least 2 things, so that when I get on the phone and old Betty starts screaming at me, at least I won my morning before I started feeling like I was losing my dials. I've had a few wins, and it changes your confidence. It changes the way you start the day. And then by the end of it, you find that you're better in every relationship in your life. Like I feel like lately I've been able to be a better father, better husband, a better leader in this business, better business partner, because I've been sharper, and it's just little adjustments. So I encourage you, like, do not let this be an opportunity in 2022 that maybe funds your bank account but depletes your health. Don't let this be an opportunity that, it's just not enough. Like, we had 2 panels, why FFL and overcoming adversity, and they were 2 of my favorite panels. And let me tell you, almost every person that got up there was in tears sharing their why. They could barely get it out. Want to know why? Because the reason they're doing this is so much bigger than themselves. They're doing it for other people. Every agency within Living Hope right now that has a logo is a guy that has a family. And I'm not saying that you got to get married and have kids to get a logo here at Family First Life Living Hope. What I'm telling you is that I just think that Mike and Josh and Jamie and myself, our smallest fear is failing with FFL, and our biggest fear is failing our family. And if you can establish a why that's deep enough, you can do this as a single person, okay? There's hope. If you can establish a why that's deep enough that it will keep you going, then your commitment to this business, on whatever capacity that is and whatever goal it's creating for you in your life and what you want to do and accomplish, that will overcome and exceed the emotion that is going to drive you if the why does not each day. And what I mean by that is you commit, I want to hit Hall of Fame, but then you go to bed too late and you wake up the next day feeling a little sick and you decide, I'm not going to dial today. It's because the emotion in which you originally committed and made that commitment has passed. And now you got a new emotion that's overcome it. And now you're choosing how you feel in the moment over the goal that you set, because you're letting your feelings dictate what you're going to do. And you cannot win here, but I can promise you this. If you were at convention, you saw it. And if you weren't there, just be at the next event. There's regional sales trainings and there's events that are happening quarterly within FFL all across the US. You just need to know that anyone can do this, but not everyone will do this. And everyone has what it takes, but not everyone is willing to make the sacrifices to see the results. And so if you were to cross-examine every top producer in this company, you'd realize one thing, and that is that they all have something driving them more than just money. They have something driving them more than just a lifestyle. They have something driving them more than just this ambition as an entrepreneur. A lot of them are doing this for other people in their lives. And I think that a life lived for just you is a really small life, but a life lived for others is really big. And that's what's changed how I write business as well, is that I've realized in the last few months, this is not about me. And any time that I'm looking at someone as a number or an opportunity to hit my weekly submit because it's Wednesday afternoon and I still want to do another 3K, I lose, because even if I help that family, I did it for the wrong reason. So I just want to encourage you, if you move forward with like a heart to serve our clients and to build a business here and to build something that matters and to change your life and your situation, you're not only going to succeed, but you will look back at the end of this year and you'll realize that everything in your life has changed. You are not the same person mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, but it won't just be the bank account that you have to show for that. It will be the kind of human being that you are. And just know on the day-to-day with our job, you come out of a convention like this and you go out to driving your car around 4 days a week and sitting in an office dialing 2 days a week. And it can feel very mundane and it can feel like a job and not like a business. You can feel not like you're independent, but you're just some employee that works remotely and alone. No one's going to be there with you to hold you accountable. But what you can do is you can start to be competitive with yourself. And if you make the decision to build a team, you've chosen not to be selfish here. You've chosen to share this opportunity that is truly life-changing with someone. And even if you haven't made the most of it, someone else that you know might come in and they'll pass you up, and they will, because this is what they needed. But the second thing is it will bring you to this place to where you feel like you've given up the right to be lazy. And then you'll have accountability. Even if someone isn't in your backyard, you'll know that other people across the US, they're depending on you to go out there and to lead by example. So I just want to encourage you this year, make the decision that you don't want this to just change your financial situation. Let it change every area of your life. The best of convention was seeing that the people I respect most in this space, they care the most about people, but I'd also consider them some of the highest quality human beings I've ever met. Because this opportunity over the last 2, 4, 6, 8 years, it's changed everything for them. It hasn't just changed their lifestyle, it has changed their relationships, it has changed their future, and they're making a huge difference. And I hope that you want to do the same.
Dude, I love it. I love the passion. And I'm excited what you're going to do after convention. I know that fired up, dude. You covered a lot of different topics. And, at the end of the day, a couple things as far as consistency, and you mentioned Hall of Fame, and a lot of people look at it as like a performance-based award, and in a way it is, but it's more of a consistency award. And if you wake up and you do the daily things and, you get on live, we could say it all day long, and I could say it till I'm blue in the face and people still not do it till I'm blue in the face, and it's like, just if you commit, and I challenge every single one of you, if you just commit to 30 days of doing all the right things every single day, you will know after 30 days if this is the place for you, rather than playing around with this for 6 months and wondering what it could do. If you just gave it just 30 days, all out effort, investing in leads, dial days, dialing until you have your appointments, running appointments, going to your last appointment, 30 days, all out effort, I think a lot of you would be amazed at what you're actually capable of. And, and I'll pass this on to Zach in here in just a second. I was somebody, I think a lot of you guys, and I just want to mention this real quick. I think a lot of people have fear, for, whether it's ego or just whatever that fear is, wherever it comes from. And, we hear Sean say, or Pastor Matthew say all the time, you can either have fear or faith. You can't have both. If you just choose faith over your fear for 30 days and just do what it takes and lean in and bug the crap out of your manager and let them help you and not overcomplicate this and keep it extremely simple, extremely simple. You know how many people would probably help 30 or 40 families this month? I'm not joking. You guys have no idea how incredibly talented most of you are. And a lot of people are sleeping on talents that they could use to help a million families this year. I kid you not. And a lot of you guys are way more talented than I am. Probably most all of you are. You just need a little belief in yourself. So if you're like me and you didn't have that belief, find someone on the team. And that, again, that's the importance of convention, being able to make connections and running partners and just different people that you vibe with, but find someone that you believe in that can also believe in you, and just push each other and set goals and hold each other accountable. And I think I just think it's powerful. So, I wrote this down, and if you guys want to write this probably was the one thing that that allowed me. And like Peter said, you're going to change so much. You're not going to be who you are today and accomplish what you want to accomplish this year. You have to evolve and change and grow. And I committed day one here. I'm very, 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 how do I put this? I've never been one that has been able to like openly, like even on this call, speak. It's like out of my comfort zone. I was the guy in church that if they asked to pray, I'd be like, no, I'm shy. I was never in any of the children's events when I was a kid because I'd cry. Like, it just wasn't my thing. And, this right here is completely out of my, even this is completely out of my comfort zone. But I promised myself day one that anytime I ever had an opportunity to get uncomfortable, I'd say yes. And I can't tell you guys how much that's like changed my life. From unmuting on live dials for the first time, to Jamie putting me on the spot the night before and said, you're speaking at the Charlotte conference, to speaking at, the launch event in Phoenix, that, I just promise you guys, if you just get uncomfortable and you promise yourself to make that commitment and go all in for 30 days, you'd be amazed at where you could be. So thank you, Peter, for sharing that. And Zach, I'm just going to pass it to you. You next.
Awesome. You guys hear me? Awesome. Well, thanks, Mike, Josh, Peter, all really, really solid stuff. And what I was doing, I was going through my notes here and I circled all the golden nuggets from the event. And it was basically everything you guys just shared. But what I'll do is try to give you my own perspective on it. And I have a few other things I wanted to jump into. And it's really cool at the event to meet some of you people in person and, form new friendships and hear your stories and realize like how much of an impact this company is making. And that's the realization that I took away. I got a couple of realizations here and then I'll get into the golden nuggets. Number one is impact. Family First Life is making an insane impact in multiple ways. And every single one of you, every single family you talk to, every single person you bring onto the business as an agent, it matters because it all feeds into the overall impact that FFL is making. The money, the generosity, how much, Sean, Mike and the team gives away. It's unreal. It's changing families. It's changing people's lives. And I just love that. And for me, if I'm putting time and effort, if I'm spending my life working on something, it makes zero sense to me to work for a company or work for anything that's not making an impact, So some of you might still have jobs and you're looking to, you're doing this part-time and you want to go full-time. For me, that drives me. It's like, I want to put all my time and energy into something that makes the biggest impact. So with that being said, any of you on the call, I don't care if you're on my team or not, I want to help you. I want to help you grow, answer questions, reach out to me. Don't hesitate. I don't care about, getting credit for it or not. I just want to make an impact. So just know that, my phone is open for anyone on this call that has questions. So that's the first thing, impact. The second thing is, one thing I realized, and I was kind of frustrated with myself is, it's cool to have gotten an award and stuff. And, it's better than nothing, but I was a little, believe it or not, I was a little disappointed in myself because I knew I had more potential to do better and I didn't. And And some of you on the call, like, yeah, maybe you have talent and maybe you were able to, have some decent numbers and whatnot this past year, but you also realized that maybe you had more potential. You could have done more and you just didn't do it. And for me, that eats me up inside because my biggest fear is wasting my potential. It's just like, God put me on this earth for a reason, for a purpose, to serve and serve and do his will. And if I'm not living up to that potential, what he created me for, then I'm failing. So no matter if I got an award or not, I knew I could have done better. I could have served at a higher level. So that's, a correction I'm going to make. And it was a decision I made after going to this event. It's something I needed to do. And I needed this event to realize that. So that was that second realization. And I'll touch on some gold nuggets. I just went and circled some things that really stuck out to me. And it was some things that Mike already shared from Dave Anderson that are really powerful, very practical things, but super powerful. It's just excellence has to become excellence has to become a part of your nature. How you brush your teeth in the morning, right? Little things like that. What you listen to, what you read first thing in the morning, what you feed your brain, what you feed your mind, what you feed your body. Every little thing, every decision, it matters, has that compound effect, and it affects your business. It affects your ability to serve. So just excellence in everything you do. Yeah, we're not perfect. We're going to slip up here and there, but just get right back on track and just continue to remind yourself, right? So to be able to do that, like Mike said, the first hour of the day, Dave Anderson said, the first hour of the day is what matters. It sets the tone. It sets the pace for the day. And there's days where I realize when I'm waking up when I said I'm going to wake up, doing what I said I was going to do in the morning, then I feel much better throughout the day. I just do. And that goes to the point that Dave Anderson said, the you versus you. It's not me versus anyone else. It's me versus myself. I need to be better than I was yesterday. That's it. Better than I was yesterday. And as long as I can continue to do that, I'm good. Because if I'm becoming better, then I can help someone else become better. Right. I only can help someone level up to the level that I'm at. And if I'm stuck, I'm stagnant, I'm not living up to my potential, then I'm holding everyone else back. Right. So that's huge. Win the morning and you'll win the day. And then speak and think in terms of what you do want, not in what you don't want. That happens a lot in this business. It's easy to get negative. It's easy to get frustrated on the phones. Like, why is everyone yelling at me? I had 4 calls in a row and this guy says, they all said something weird. They yelled at me and they told me I didn't fill that out, so it's easy to get into that rut, but don't get emotionally attached to it. Don't get tied into it. Don't play along. Just acknowledge it and dial the next number, right? Just move on. Don't get sucked into that roller coaster of emotions. Let's see what else I got written down here. I want to become a man worth following. So that means my work ethic in business, the way I conduct myself, I carry myself, the words I use, the way I treat my body, the way I treat people, right? And if I want to become a man worth following, then it ties back into being excellent with everything I do. So that all really goes hand in hand here. And then Dave Anderson, another one, act your way into feeling. That was, that happens so often where you have that feeling of, I don't want to do that. Don't feel like it. So then you just don't do it. But if you would just put a little discipline, a little bit of willpower into it to where you push yourself to get past that 2 minutes of feeling, on the other side of it, you just kind of snap back into the zone and then you're like, okay, I'm good. Right. And you get, your body just goes along with it. You just got to push through that little resistance and then you're back into it. And then you're way happier you did that, opposed to taking the easy route and just listening to your body tell you not to do it. Right. So that's the big thing. Act your way into feeling and then you'll be right back into it. Let's see what else I got written down here. Okay. Increase lead flow to increase your cash flow. Who on here wants to increase their cash flow, right? All of you. Yeah. I hope. Well, we got to increase lead flow. And then I think a lot of people that don't do that are ones that kind of have this like, they have like this limiter on their brain of how much they're willing to invest in leads. And they probably invest the same every week and they won't push past that limiter. Well, if you want to increase your cash flow, you got to break through the fear, have a little faith in yourself that you'll take enough action to be able to increase your cash flow. You'll book more appointments and you'll talk to more families, serve more families, and increase your cash flow. All right. And then let's see what else I got circled here. Another one, be good at sowing in the spring or you'll end up begging in the fall. So there was a ton of speakers that talked about sowing seeds. And what are those seeds that you're sowing? That's an appointment you're booking. That is a family you're sitting with. That is a friend that you've introduced to the opportunity, a video you sent, a text message you sent, a post you made. Those are all little seeds that you can sow. That person you helped, that question you answered for someone who is struggling, that in-home phone call you took to help someone serve that family. All those are little seeds. That word of encouragement to someone who is struggling, that's a huge seed. I know Jamie helped me big time. I was about like 6-7 months into the business, and I feel like I hit a wall, and I just like could not get over it. And just like 20-minute phone call with Jamie, he shared, a few different concepts and stories and philosophies with me, and reminded me, the reason I'm doing this, and that got me going again. And then my next week was amazing, with the numbers. So little things like that. Sow more seeds, continually sow seeds, and just have faith that those seeds are going to blossom. Some of them are going to take root, some of them won't, but just keep sowing them continuously. And you guys are going to be in a really, really good spot. Just have faith that it's going to blossom into the results that you want. So that's just what I want to share with you guys. Those are my big takeaways, my experience with the event. And I'm super stoked for this year. And I'm just honored to be a part of this team, this family. And I want to continue to grow, help you guys grow. And we're on to big things. We're going to win big this year. And I have no doubt about that. So I'll give it back to Mike.
Awesome, Zach, dude. And I can sense like another level of like passion and commitment. Just being at the event, and you were locked in and you're ready to grow. And I know that you got a lot of people, like you said, anybody on the team, but I know you have a lot of people specifically that you want to help achieve big goals this year. So thanks for sharing. I'm excited for you, man. Next, Brody, if you can go ahead and unmute.
I was not prepared. My apologies. Thank you guys for everything you said. It's hard to follow up each and every one of you. You guys are awesome. But I just have a few bullet points that I kind of jotted down here today. Been reflecting since we left. First is belief. That was my biggest takeaway. Like, we had people up there that were 5 feet tall, looked like some of them were 7 feet tall, and everybody in between. And every single one of them had belief. They knew what they wanted, they knew how to get it, and they just executed. And it all falls on their heart, right? Like, they're there to help a family, they're there to help an agent, and they all fall back on their beliefs, which is just to serve people and help people. So for me, just seeing all those different people walk across the stage, different walks of life that are so successful, was huge for me in my own belief. And I know it was for other people that I talked to. I know we kind of reflected each night as a team on what we heard. And so that was huge for me. And then another thing that I kept hearing from a bunch of the top people is minimums. I know we hear that all the time, but 25, 30 appointments minimum consistently, like consistency and minimums. Just hammer, hammer, hammer every single person. There's no like secret sauce. There's no way to get out of work. There's nothing like that. It's just minimums. And that's all it is. And it's simple. And once I got through that myself, I started seeing myself get better. So I know it's there. So for anybody on here that may be struggling, the minimums were huge, and the consistency. And that goes with Another thing that I had written down, which is mindset. You can have your mindset right all day. You can be the most positive person in the world, like roses, sunshine, the whole nine. But if you aren't willing to put that into action, you're not going to do anything. And every single person that walked across that stage had their mind right and they acted on it. They just go to work, they be adults, and they do their thing. So I'm not as obviously well-spoken or have all these quotes written down, but for me, the whole event was this big ball of heart. Like Dave Witcher got up there and he was running around like a bulldog and then was dang near crying by the end of it, like those are the people that do well in this business because they are just working from their heart, whether it's sitting in the home with a client or on the phone with an agent, anything, man. That was huge for me. I mean, I went home and did the dishes for my wife last night because Dave Witchard said he did the dishes for his wife. So it's making me a better person in the business and at home. So I think there were just a ton of things that everybody took from it, that we all have our own perspectives. We all have our own beliefs. We all have our own goals, but just the amount of information and heart that we all felt was great. So that kind of hits on mainly everything I have to say, but I'm going to say one more thing. I know this is kind of going and other people may want to unmute, so I'll be the short guy here. But my biggest quote this whole time, and I might start getting emotional about it, but you cannot be grateful and negative at the same time. You cannot be grateful and negative at the same time. Hammer that. I use that today personally, and I had a great day. It's huge. I'd get it tattooed on my arm if I wanted to get a tattoo. It was amazing. That was the only part where I was legitimately like crying. And so I just wanted to share that with anybody that either didn't hear it, may have been in the bathroom or wasn't there. Just use that every single day, and I think it'll lift you up and help you achieve your goals. So those are my things, and it was just a great event, and I'm excited for 2022 and to grow and help a bunch of people.
Love it. Love it, dude. Can you real quick, because I thought it was kind of cool the way that your analogy, but you used the Rubik's Cube analogy the other night you were sharing with me after the event, just because I think that's another advantage of going to convention, man. Well, I'll let you share your analogy and then I'll speak on it.
Yeah. So since I started, I always think of we were sitting there on the balcony reflecting after one night, just put it in context, and it was quiet. We were just kind of staring off, and I looked at Mike and I'm like, man, I feel like I've been messing with this Rubik's Cube the whole time, right? You can get one side figured out, but then it messes up the other side. And then you mess with it and you get that side right, and then it messes up the other side. And then you get it real close and everything looks messed up. And it's just like one more turn and the whole thing's figured out. And I looked over at Mike and I told him this, and I said, I feel like the Rubik's Cube just popped and all the sides match up. This event was absolutely life-changing. And I kind of got emotional. I think he did too. And it kind of just made sense for both of us. So that's how I came out of it.
Yeah, dude. And I love that. Yeah, I love that because it's just like, that's what it's all about. It's not all hype. It's going and simplifying this business. It's listening to, Jay Conan and Dave Witcher, Dave Anderson, Kevin O'Leary. I mean, all these amazing speakers. And I mean, me personally, I think that most of the speakers, Jake and Easton blew me away with their passion. And I think a lot of the speakers that we had were better than the keynotes. I heard Sean say that, and I 100% agree with him. And, for those that made it, man, I know that you'll be blessed for it. And I think that you'll be able to help a lot more families because you took the time to invest in yourself. So I'm going to open this up for a few comments. We're probably going to take maybe 4 or 5. and just maybe some people that have something to share on their mind, on their hearts, that maybe we didn't get across, or just something that you have that really benefited you. And I know one person that wants to speak, so we'll start with her, and then whoever's next, just unmute when she's done, and we'll go to Kasha.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
All right, perfect. So you guys did a great job of sharing everything, but just kind of my biggest takeaway was actually talking to one of the top producers, and I asked her, I was looking to get discipline. That's what I was trying to get out of this event. And I straight up asked her, I asked Cassandra Carter, like, what made her have the discipline to dial? And she just looked at me and said, you just do it. And it was so simple, but so profound. I think a lot of us came into this looking for some sort of secret, looking for, I need that one golden nugget. But then we're sitting there day after day and we're hearing the same things just in different ways. And it just really solidified for me how simple this really is. And we know what we're doing. We just have to do more of it and doing the next right thing, which I think Dave Anderson said. And Dave Anderson was excellent. And he really got to me saying, you can't just roll out of bed, in messed up shoes in a dirty car, go to your appointment, knock on the door, and then think you can turn that switch of excellence on. And I'm definitely guilty of that. I haven't been very disciplined in the morning, and that's something I need to work on. And I understand the slight edge and the compound effect. But the biggest thing I think also was, what would Sean do? And that really got my attention, because the times that I don't want to do something, if I don't want to make that dial, if I don't want to door knock, if I don't want to do that next thing, now I catch myself just since I heard that, well, what would Sean do? And then I'm like, okay, well, he would definitely do it. So then I force myself to do it, and it's the right thing to do. And that's just the way I want to live my life. So I'll let the next person share.
I love it, Kasha. That's all good stuff. Next, we're going to go to Joseph Whipple.
Hey guys, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, real quick, I just wanted to say probably the thing that stood out to me the most here, or last week, was something that Dave Anderson said in regards to achieving success. And we all, like everybody's touched on seeing the people up in stage, like if these fools can do it, so can I. But yeah, you can do it, but you have to have a roadmap of how to get there. And what he said, what I believe what's different between me and them, or you and the people on stage, he said, to achieve success, do the ordinary things extraordinarily well, and then do them more often. You gotta love where the process will take you. You may not love the process right now, but you gotta love where it's gonna take you and what it's gonna do for you. And just do the basics better. Like, that's the difference between us who are sitting there listening and the people who are on the stage, is they did the simple things, they did them better, and they did them more often, and they did them consistently. So if you just get better at the basics and just master them and just do them over and over and over, you're gonna get to where the people on the stage were. And even if you don't love it now, you gotta love where it's gonna take you, and that's gonna drive you to keep doing it. And that's pretty much what I got out of it.
Dude, that's amazing. I love the perspective. And it's so true. It's just, you just got to stay consistent, man. And I love that perspective on the event. Let's see, Jonah Duncan.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
Okay, perfect. So one thing I wanted to go over real quick was Trey Honeycutt's. He said, some of God's greatest gifts come in ugly wrapping paper. So for me, that's taking criticism that I receive and turning it into something positive that I can build on. That's really huge for me. And I think another thing too, real quick, is really getting uncomfortable. And I've seen myself grow just leaving the conference and on my way home with my wife. Like, I really thought I was a good people person before I started this. And I've realized that I'm not the best like I thought I was. So like forcing myself, I had some awesome conversations with people that I have no idea who they are, but I saw them and they standing there and they looked like they needed someone to talk to. So I introduced myself, asked them how their day was going, where they traveling to, stuff like that. And it was just huge to hear their stories and perspectives. And had nothing really even to do with FFL. They were just on their way to do their job, but we were able to bounce off each other a little bit, and it was awesome. And also one quick thing too is my wife going with me built on my why, right? So to see my wife there and her eyes light up like, holy cow, you can do this, and I believe in you. It was huge, dude. Awesome.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And you'll get me emotional because most of you guys don't know that his wife is my sister. So I love that. And something, something that I'll mention about Jonah is he was so impacted by the conference, and not just listening. I think, you can be, was it Jamie shared in our group, our convention group, I'm going to butcher this, but it was something about being like, you can be a oneer or a doer, basically. Like you listen to all of these things that we're sharing, that the people at conference shared, and you want to do them, but there's a difference in wanting to do it and actually executing it. And that's what I challenge you guys to actually do. And what I was getting at here is, Jonah missed our team photo at the end. And I didn't realize, they were closing up and trying to get us to move, and we were trying to be quick. He missed our team photo, but what most of you guys don't know, he missed our team photo because he was helping the crew on the field clean up trash that other agents left. So to me, that's powerful, and that's being a doer, not just listening. And so I just wanted to share that because I think that speaks to your character, and it also speaks to, just listening to you talk. Stop, just talking to random, people that you have no idea, you never saw them, it doesn't, like, it's not somebody that you're intentionally going to meet, but it just speaks to your heart, and I'm proud of you, dude. And I'm so excited to work with you because you're the type of person that everyone wants to work with. So awesome. I'm so proud of you. Next up, we got Travis Burden. And then after that, we'll close up. Gigi wants to say a few words. So we'll go with Travis next. You got me, Travis?
Yeah, you got me.
I got you.
Cool. So I'll be pretty quick here, man. I just want to kind of share what hit home with me the most, and that was Austin Hatch. I almost start getting emotional just talking about it. Like, you think, and I think we all think at times that we've been through some tough stuff. And it's like, wow, you hear that guy's story and you watch like where he was and what he's been through and where he's at now and how he's able to carry himself and just keep going and how he's able to just help and move so many people. It's honestly, I have zero excuses. We should like if I don't want to go to an appointment at 8, it's like Austin would go, Sean would go. Like if he was just amazing to me. And for the main thing that I took away from him was I should have zero excuses about anything, about getting up at 6 a.m., about getting on live dials, about booking 15 appointments. I mean, just everything, zero excuses. So that's kind of what I took away from the convention was no more excuses. I should have no more excuses. So,
dude, I love it. And if you guys haven't seen Austin's story, it's actually a Sports Center. I think 60-minute story or whatever they're called, but essentially he lost both of his parents in 2 separate plane crashes that he survived. And it was some crazy 1 in 3 trillion or some crazy number chances to live, and he lived. And if anybody has excuses and this is outside of just Family First Life in life, like if anybody has a reason to be negative or hate life or make excuses, it's somebody like Austin. And he's just, they asked him, are you mad at your dad? And he's no, and he chooses to take each situation and rather than be upset and emotional, he makes sure that it's his response to the situation, right? You can't judge the outcome. So thanks for sharing, Travis. I appreciate that, dude. I'm so, and then we'll go to Gigi here in just a second. I'm just so like uplifted. There's so many people that I can just tell you right, like at this very moment, just from the last 5 days, there's so many people that are on a completely different level mentally. And you guys are going to reap the benefits, and the clients are going to reap the benefits, because there's so many more people that you're going to be able to impact and protect because your mindset's not in the way. And that's what this is truly about. Even before, right? There's a lot of situations that we weren't able to overcome because we were in our own way. And I think that for those that were at convention and listened to the speakers and built your why, built your belief, maybe built your wife's belief, right? I mean, a lot of us have spouses and they don't know anything about this. They just know we're gone a lot, and a lot of the things that we see people go through, it just puts in perspective. So I appreciate you guys all so much for opening up and sharing some things. Did I skip you, Charles? I think I skipped Charles. Let's go to Charles next. I don't know how I did that.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude.
Like pride, right? Like I remember it kind of stuck out to me. No one dreams of being an insurance agent, right? So we all came from a bunch of different backgrounds, different perspectives on life. We all have a different like preconceived idea of what this is supposed to be like for all of us. And I think that the biggest struggle for anyone, we talk about mentality essentially, but that all comes down to your pride in the industry. And I don't know when it switched, but somewhere probably about halfway through the conference, it just clicked for me. And I went from being somebody that didn't know what the heck I was doing here to being somebody that was actually like, man, this ain't so bad after all. One quote that really stood out to me is, you can't say the wrong thing to the right people. And I guess in that moment, I kind of realized that all this time that I was doubting myself and I wasn't proud of what I was doing, my family never talked bad about what I was doing. They never questioned it. But I couldn't see the forest for the trees. And I questioned my potential and what I was even doing here. And with that same quote, you can't say the wrong thing to the right people. I said family, but it goes to clients as well. And even to people in this group chat, right? You can't be afraid to push the envelope because you never truly know what you say is going to click for the right person. And so to me, it's pride, and don't be afraid to say the wrong thing, because if it matters in that moment to that person, it'll make the difference. And that's what I got out of convention.
Love it, dude. Love your passion and energy. And I know we got to speak for a few moments, and I think you're going to be one of the ones that come out and do really well. So happy for you. Gigi?
Hi, guys. Good night. I'm actually outside of my comfort zone talking to you all on Zoom. But a couple things that I took from convention. So to be honest, was going to treat this more like a hobby, but I realize now that I can actually make this a real business for like myself and just to grow with my family. I also learned that I need to get out of my comfort zone to actually grow. One of the things I got from Dave Anderson was and everyone basically spoke on it, but to raise your standards. When he said a lot of the things about what's your car look like or your closet and all that other stuff and how the little things really do matter, it really hit me. And so that's definitely something that's major for me. And then the other thing was, Easton Patton, and he was just like, when you work, you build up immunity to doubt. So I'm definitely gonna put in more work now, and I see a future with FFL, and so that's what I took away.
I love that. I'm so glad you're here. I know you're going to do really well. And I didn't have that note, and I'm so glad you shared that. The Easton Baden, he is a Baden, Easton Baden quote. And it's so true, because the moments that, I know for me, and I'm sure you guys can all speak on it, but the moments that are the hardest are when I'm working the least, right? Whenever I'm focused on work, I'm dialing, I'm in the field, helping families, whatever that is. I don't have time to think negatively or sulk or poor me, all those negative thoughts. So guys, I just want to wrap up here. I thank you guys so much for sharing from your heart. And, I think this is, at least for me, this is one of my favorite calls that we've done. And I think it's been extremely impactful. And I just challenge you guys to don't just be a oneer, be a doer. And, something huge for me, and I'll say this, and this isn't really as much on this call, our group chat in WhatsApp, it's very encouraging for a lot of people. And, I know that some of us are overly active. I'm probably that guy. Some of us are not existent in the group. Some of us are, sprinkle in here and there. But I can tell you that, especially now that a lot of you guys know each other, the group chat is a place where we can all come together and communicate and share things, and, obviously post our wins, families protected. And, I think that if more people were active, and, when people are new and put in and welcome to the team, if more people were more excited to welcome the newest person that's starting here, and, congratulate people and actually acknowledge people, I think that the whole team would grow so much faster. And I think you guys, I don't know about you guys, but I get satisfaction and pleasure in saying thank you and saying congratulations and acknowledging other people winning. And, even when you're not winning, when you're not in a winning season, right? And, I just think that if you guys would, I'm asking you, if you would make a conscious effort to, welcome people, congratulate people, be a little bit more active. And, I think the newest agent, the newest person on our team would feel more involved, because, when I started here with this team, I remember when we started the WhatsApp group, and, when you start with it, it's like, okay, people are just coming in, they're coming in. But as you grow, and, now we have, there's 42 people on this call, but there's probably 100 in the WhatsApp group, right? And, when someone comes into a group like that and it's big, it can be a little intimidating to a lot of people, so to walk in, think of it like you're walking into a building where there's a group and nobody comes up and says welcome, or not, like going to church, right? Like, I'll use that as an example. You walk into to go to the assembly, and like nobody comes in and says anything, or maybe two people say hi. Like, that's not a welcoming environment. And I think that we could all, including myself, do better and lift people up and encourage people, congratulate people. And that's all I ask. I appreciate you guys so much, and I love you guys. We all love you. And thank you for being on the call. And last thing, I encourage you guys to set real, tangible goals, like realistic goals. Write them down and write the steps to actually achieve them. And if you work with me, if you work with Peter, Josh, whoever, Brody, Zach, I'll probably miss Jamie, obviously. We all work with Jamie. Call your manager and say, this is my goal. If you don't know, how do I get there? What do I do? What's that look like? If I want to help 30 families, right? Like, how do I help 30 families this month? What does that look like? How many leads do I need to purchase? How many appointments do I need to book, right? Like, what does that look like to actually achieve your goal? No matter how big or small, set a realistic goal for yourself, and let's help each other grow and develop. And, I believe in all you guys and love you guys. And I just challenge you guys to make 2022, the best year, but it starts today, starts tomorrow in the field. So love you guys. Y'all have a great night.